Okay, so looking back, I cannot remember where we were geographically, specifically, but to be honest, I'm not sure I really want to recall. There is one moment that I doubt will ever leave me. I can remember it was a temperate, clear day. It was really nice outside, and we'd all decided to take a day's vacation from our vacation, and we all took our different directions to swim, shop, or sleep, and of course I chose to sleep. I stayed up too late. I do that a lot. Um, but that means I was at home, and that is where the scene of all this happens. Um, my niece and my dad had both decided to hang back and swim in our pool instead of going to the beach. Um, this little girl, Sarah, was my niece. She was around 3, and my dad was in his late 40s. So I assumed when I first woke up that afternoon that everything would be fine, that there would be no reason to believe anything would go wrong, but I was proven wrong pretty quick. Uh, it was about 15 minutes later. I heard my dad yell for help, and it was right as I was pulling out a jug of milk, and that gallon of milk was wasted pretty fast because I dropped it on the floor. And when I heard the word Sarah fell in, and um, everything else until I got there was kind of pushed out of my mind. I didn't really pay attention. Before I knew it, every family member was there, and I was simply standing there with these 15-year-old eyes just staring blankly at this blue, lifeless body of a 3-year-old little girl. Almost lifeless. I remember I was wearing a plain brown shirt and blue basketball shorts. I had bare feet. I didn't like to wear flip flops or anything like that, so my feet were kind of burning. But I didn't really care. That wasn't the first thing on my mind. Um, if it hadn't been for my Uncle Brian, I'm not sure I would still be called Uncle Irk by that sweet little girl. Um, why I chose to write this or I chose to use this for the Vibrant Images speeches, um, it wasn't really that itself happening that I remember really well. It's the questions and the EMT that stayed back and helped us after she was taken to the hospital. Um, I was in tears when it finally hit me. Um, yeah, it was pretty bad. They pulled away, and I hadn't really cried yet, but then I just broke because I heard the sirens and everything, and I was like, well, that's my niece going to the hospital. And I shouldn't have been surprised when I hugged him and like he smelled like a hospital. He smelled clean, that sort of thing. Um, he hugged me for a good minute while my parents walked back inside. And they were trying not to cry either, but I could hear my mother sobbing before she closed the doors. I can recall seeing people stopping and staring at us and like blatantly making it a point to like gawk. And there was this one woman who stopped and she put a hand over her heart and she goes, "Oh, bless their hearts." And I kind of look back now and wonder if she really understands how tragic this was, because it wasn't just a like a aging grandparent or uncle. It was a little girl who was so innocent and just she was young, new, hardly knew how to talk. Um, I remember going up to my sister like I'd say an hour later, and I asked her, "Kim, are you okay?" And this is Sarah's mom, and her crying got even worse. So I walked away and cried myself. You never forget this sort of thing. That's definitely an obvious point. You carry it with you forever. I don't think anyone's immune to seeing a little baby girl on like concrete, blue, and not moving. It's horrific, and I still consider that an understatement, actually. Seeing her smiling face today, though, I can tell you I started believing in God a little bit more that day, despite my occasional faltering through life. Maybe it was divine intervention. Maybe it was just luck that my uncle decided to come back early from the beach, and he just happened to be going through school to become one of those men that consoled me as my niece was driven to the hospital. Either way, I can undoubtedly call this a vivid memory. It was certainly defining